When hinges creak in doorless chambers, and strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls, whenever candlelights flicker, where the air is deathly still, that is the time when the universal voice talent coaches are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight. Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Halloween edition of Voiceover Sermons. I am your host, your ghost host. Kindly step all the way in, please, and make room for everyone. There's no turning back now.
Zoinks! Scoob, let's get out of here! That's the scariest thing ever!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of Voiceover Sermons, the official Halloween version. How are you guys? We have almost all of our coaches on the same call. How lucky for the voiceover universe. Yeah. Welcome.
And I'm excited.
Hey, I hope you guys don't mind. I actually hired somebody to break in and rob me during the recording of this show just so we'd get higher ratings. Are you guys cool? So if you guys hear two people struggling in the background,
who's going to take over as host then?
The whole thing is a setup.
Oh.
I'm trying to create drama to get us higher ratings.
Will they torture you in the process? I'm all for that.
I know, I'm pretty sure you would be the one cheering, Jan. But hey, thank you guys for being here and happy Halloween. Before we get into some voiceover stuff, just for fun, I just want to talk just for a couple of minutes. It doesn't always have to be voiceover related on this particular podcast. But by the way, my name's Terry Daniel. I'm here with some fabulous coaches on my staff, Rob Marley, Jan Anderson, Garnett Williams, and Trish Bassani. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Gosh, thank you, Terry.
I don't know about you guys, but I want to talk briefly about the best and worst Halloween costumes, whether you were a kid or something. Maybe, Jan, maybe you're dressed in a costume right now, which actually would seem like that would really flake me out.
There's no costume. What costume?
Yeah, what costume? We're in our voiceover costumes.
I'm nude.
I'm in my radio announcer voice costume. No, seriously, about 10 years ago, I don't know if you guys even get into Halloween or you used to going to parties and stuff, but I had a great costume, the Riddler. I had the lights, I had the question mark, I had it right down to the Jim Carrey version of the Riddler.
Oh,
and then
nice.
and then I went to the same 3 parties a year later and really thought that I was going to wow people by being an Ewok. So I made the Ewok costume myself and just really f***ed it all up. I ended up, do you remember the TV show Elf?
Yes.
Yeah.
I ended up looking more like Elf than the Ewok.
Alf? The alien?
Oh yeah,
Alf.
Alf the alien dog or whatever he was. Do you remember the sitcom Elf?
Yeah.
So that was a complete embarrassment and letdown. And I lost most of my friends because they thought I was going to come up with something incredible for the second year. And it was an Ewok costume that looked more like Elf. Not good.
There's your Midwest coming out, Terry.
Oh, yeah.
It's Alf, not
Alf.
Alf.
Is that what it is?
Alf.
Oh, I'm getting dialect coaching now from Trish Bassani.
The coolest costume I saw was one from a Comic-Con that a girl was wearing. She was dressed as Han Solo, but she had a gigantic red cup that she was in. Like it was like she was inside the cup, and it was Han Solo cup. And I saw that. As soon as I saw it, I thought, that is freaking hilarious. She wins. She wins. Han Solo cup.
Oh my God, that is incredible.
Did it well,
Trish,
creative.
do you dress up for Halloween, or do you remember any memorable costumes?
I have so many ideas throughout the year, and then I get invited to all these parties every year, and I literally wind up scrambling 3 hours before the party, and then I show up as something really lame because it's already too late to put something together.
Oh yeah,
so,
you're the type that goes to like a
like a Walgreens drugstore at the last second to see if they have anything left, and it's
Exactly.
and it's an
Terrible.
Ewok mask.
I just have more important things to do than figure out just I don't know. I'm more important with things. I don't know. It's just
I used to love Halloween. I would decorating the house and stuff for Halloween. I love doing that. I still do that. It's fun.
yeah.
well, it's fun.
When I was a
It's-
kid, it was big in my house. Like my dad would make all of my costumes. I was a loaf of bread one year.
Is that a loaf of gluten-free bread?
And I was a dump truck one year that actually
Oh my
worked.
God, these are fabulous.
So like I actually had like he like made this like so it was like boxes, and then he cut it out so like the box kind of was sitting on my shoulders, and then my head was in the cab, which was another box, and then he made an actual dumpable dump thing, whatever, bed that I had like a wire hanger underneath, and I would
my
push
God.
the hanger up, and it would dump. It would like be like a dump truck, like an automated
Wow.
dump truck.
Oh,
It was
amazing.
really
But
cool.
you realize that this is an easy place for guys to smash their beer can and just throw in the back of your dump truck.
I got to lead the parade in first grade that year, so
Awesome.
That's cool.
Because I
Jan,
had
I
the
think
coolest one.
Jan, weren't you a drum major in the marching band?
Sure, Terry. Is that where we're going with this? Yeah. I was a drum major in a marching band. That's what I was.
Come on, does the podcast really ever go anywhere? I mean, it's not supposed to really go anywhere. Jan, did you ever dress up for Halloween
yeah.
and go to parties and stuff?
Oh, yeah, totally. Except I had a big fail. I thought I dressed up as a really cool pirate with a sash around my head and all kinds of makeup on my face and swashbuckling outfit, but everybody thought I was being little Stevie Van Zandt from the E Street Band. It's like, I'm a pirate.
Oh my God, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing.
Well, it was just but it was like, hey, I'm a pirate. I'm not little Stevie Van Zandt, okay?
Oh,
but
God, no
typically
doubt.
I end up being I just end up being a vampire of some sort.
I hate when you put
With blood
all this work
drizzling all.
I hate when you put all this work into a Halloween costume, like months of work, and then nobody knows who you are. Wait, are you the Doris from the Lost Saucer? Like what? No, I'm an Ewok.
Ewok.
Mr.
That's
Williams.
bad enough.
Mr. Williams, what about you? Are you a big Halloween costume guy?
I was when I was a kid and before I had kids, but after we had kids, it was more about them and taking them around the neighborhood. Haven't, because they're older now, so they don't even go out. But this year, I'm looking forward to taking my daughter. My wife and I are taking our daughter to a Rocky Horror Picture Show screening.
Yeah.
And the three of us
nice.
are going in costume, so it's the first Halloween thing costume-wise that I've done in years. But
That's awesome.
all three of us are going. She's 17, so she's never seen it in a live theater, and we're all looking
my
forward
God.
to
Oh,
it.
that'll be amazing. What? See, now that's the cool shit that parents should take their kids to.
Absolutely.
I begged my parents to go to a Roy Rogers, Dale Evans concert when I was in third grade, and they thought that was too satanic.
Did you grow up in the 50s?
I've never even heard of those. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
That's good. No, you don't. That's a good thing, Trish. But
Wally and the Beaver going with you?
but I hear all these stories, friends of ours, when Prince was around, it's like, I'm taking my kids to the Prince concert, or I'm taking my kids to the Kiss concert. I grew up in a very, conservative evangelical home where all that stuff was, viewed as being of the devil. So it was tough just to talk my mother into allowing my dad to take me to see Star Wars, for God's sake. So, but
God.
I think this year I'm going to go as the VO game show host scammer.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's going to be my costume.
He's everywhere.
He is everywhere. Now, Garnet, you know a little bit about this. Now, for those of you that are in the industry here, whether you're new or you're a seasoned pro, this has been going on for 4 years. There is a scam going around. It's called we call it the game show host scammer. Now, Garnet, why don't you take this, tell us what we should be looking for, or what the hell is going on with this scam that's going around. It's the one that has been going around for many years.
Yeah, the basic the layout of the scam never changes. Just a few details and the name of the person contacting you tends to change on a regular basis. But it's been around like for 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10 years, just with various little tweaks here and there. But our good voiceover industry friend Doug Turkel took it upon himself to break down the actual scam, and he actually has a page on his website where he breaks it down for people that want to take a more in-depth look at it. I'm just going to go over the highlights here, but basically you are contacted by somebody you have never met and you don't know, and they say that they heard your demo somewhere. They mention a website that may exist, may not exist, but they pretend that they know who you are and they've heard your demo and they want to hire you based on that demo for a job. And then they go into some details, but the first thing you have to remember is the job does not exist. Right out of the gate, there is no job.
Right.
It's a basic, and it's a variation on a very old type of con, which is an overpayment scam. So what they want to do is pretend to hire you, pay you, then say, oops, we paid you too much. Can you send us back, the money that we overpaid you? And you do that, and then they get your money. And then by the time the bank catches on to all this, they're long gone. So you'll get an email saying that you've been selected for the job. And once you say that you're in, like a lot of VO hopefuls are, they're excited to be contacted about potential work. So, they unfortunately, a lot of people don't actually do the research. They just jump in with both feet. Maybe they're too trusting. Maybe they just don't have enough experience in the industry. But once you do that, they will say, cool, we're going to set up a date for you to go to a recording session. And they'll usually use Google just to look for a studio in your area, your city. And they'll send you a check that turns out to be fake because they're going to ask you to pay the studio.
And they ask you to do it within like 24 hours, right? So they don't catch that the check is...
It happens really fast. Once you show interest, they want things moving really quickly, and they create this urgency. So they send you a check that turns out to be fake for more than they actually owe you, then they tell you that they're going to pay you for the job. And unfortunately, it's usually good enough that your bank won't spot it until it's gone through your bank and is sent back to the issuing bank, usually a couple of weeks after that. They will refuse it, then kick it back to your bank, and by this time you've cashed the check, and your bank finds out that the whole thing was fake, so now your bank comes after you for insufficient funds and for all the money that has been cashed through as a result of this fake check. Plus, the remaining balance of the fake check is withdrawn from your account to pay the bank back its money. So, it's not overly complicated, but they put a lot of because they've been working on this for years. They put a lot of industry phrases in there that gets you all, like when they talk about studio sessions and they start describing. Usually, it's a game show part that they say they want you to play the part of a game show host announcer for this project, and they'll have some script lines there. So they've put their work in to try and make it seem as real as possible, and I guess that's why so many people get hooked in. But it just resurfaced again, and when it does, it comes in spurts. You won't hear anything for months, and then all of a sudden you look on a Facebook group and there's like 30 of us that have got it all of a sudden when they're doing like another big blast. And I don't know if they're getting our all our email addresses off of P2P sites or agencies or wherever we might have our demos, but they do their work to target people involved in voiceover and hopefully convince them and get them on the hook.
It's gross, and they keep changing their name. And by the way, the brand new name to look out for is Steve Speaks.
Yeah,
that is the brand new one to avoid. Steve Speaks. It kind of reminds me a little bit about the, I don't know if you guys ever got those fake voicemails from, it's like a phony IRS agent.
Oh, yes.
And they say you've been investigated and you owe like thousands and thousands of dollars. I actually called one back and I recorded the conversation on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
You should check that out. I'm like, my social security number is YOUAREFULL OF SHIT. Did you get that? And then they just hang up. But it's just awful. Yeah, this game show host nonsense has been going on for like 4 or 5 years, and it's just it's
Garnet,
awful.
is this the one where it's always part of the spiel that they've got an audio producer hired who's going to bring real perfection to the project? Yeah.
Yes, and they also usually. Well, that's another tip. When you're reading it, it's some of the sentences make sense, and then others kind of don't make sense, and some of them are even a little bit of broken English. So you will notice that it's usually written by someone who English is their second language. When you'll notice like just the flow of the sentences sometimes seem a little off.
We've had students that have gotten them where they in the email they say, "I heard your demo and it was great," and they don't even have a demo yet. Like, yeah, good try there, Steven Speaks.
The other funny line that they all always put in this, every line or every version of it that I've seen says this is, you need to be in a good mental and emotional state of mind.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which okay, fair enough. But have you ever had a client like say that to you? Like, yeah, it's a great thing, but when they say that's an expectation for the job, it's like, yeah, that's a little off as well, that they would go out of their way to detail that as an expectation. So,
oh my
and
God,
they're
is
so
hilarious.
detail oriented that some of the versions say game host show instead of game show.
Oh
host.
yeah, some of the
I
grammar
caught that.
is off, and it's pretty. I mean, if you read it carefully, it should be pretty obvious that it's a scam. But we're here to report if you get an email from Steve Speaks about this whole game show host thing. This is not going to be the end of it, because the name will change in a few months, and you're just going to continue to get them. So don't fall for it.
And for fun, do check out Doug Turkel's website, where he calls it the anatomy of a voiceover scam, because not only does he break down how it all works and what you should be on the lookout for, but he actually put one of these guys on the hook and played along for a while just to see how far he could take it before they freaked out and bailed. And it's actually interesting to see some of their responses back when they're really getting frustrated with the fact that he hasn't sent them the remainder of the money from the check that they overpaid him with. They start suggesting, "Hi, have you sent the money back yet? When are you going to send that money back?" And it's good when you can see them starting to get a little pissed off. So
then they start threatening to hire a collection agent.
Yeah, they get really angry towards the end. So it's a fun read. Check it out. It's kudos to Doug for doing that, and as a public service to
absolutely.
voice actors everywhere making this information public.
So thank you, Garnet, with the scariest voiceover scam on the internet. So here's what we're going to do next, guys. We're gonna each take a little time to convey a voiceover tip or two, but we're going to use Halloween terminology. That's right. It took me 3 years to think of that. We're going to use the word scary to start with. Trish, I'm going to start with you if you don't mind.
Sure.
Tell me.
Just let me know if I go over time.
No. Tell me how scary it is to have a demo and not know how to market it.
It's very scary.
Oh, but why? Oh, boy, there's the voice. So tell us a little bit why.
Wait, which one was it that you just mentioned? I'm sorry.
Yours is, tell me how scary it is to have a demo and not know how to market it.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Well, I had a few written down here. So, yes, it's extremely scary, obviously. Let me try that again. It's very scary. So you spend a decent amount of money getting the training. It's an investment, not just with money, but with time. And you spend the time on getting the proper performance training and the technique and working with a coach and learning the little nuances of the business and about the performance end of the business. And you go through the script writing and you decide on the scripts and the music and everything else. And you work with a coach, obviously, and a professional producer on getting all of this stuff together. It takes time, it takes dedication, it takes money. and you get it produced and it sounds amazing, but then you don't know what to do with it. It's heartbreaking for me to find that out, that someone spent that kind of money on, and time on getting everything together.
No doubt.
So, work with someone, if you're looking into it, don't just, there's some people that go straight into the training and the demo, which is important. But there's a kind of a section of people that tend to just go out and buy the microphone right away and go, oh, where do I look for jobs? You shouldn't be spending money on any kind of money, really, even if it's $50 on a microphone. If you don't know how to find work, you're putting the cart before the horse. So, I encourage you, whoever's listening out there, to, all of us, myself, Terry, everybody on this podcast have all gone through that part of our, careers where we started out and we realized we're not going to get anywhere unless we get the training and the demo, except you kind of need to also learn how to market yourself and how to get work, not just from the pay to plays. Most of us have direct clients. How do you do that? There's training involved, or at least unless you really want to kind of flounder and try to spend a year trying to figure it out yourself while your demo just sits there.
Right.
It can really help to work with a professional and a working pro that actually knows how to get work without paying. First of all, like my methods that I use to get work are free. I don't pay to be listed anywhere. The getting the agent can be really important too, but there's got to be, you can't have all your eggs in one basket. But anyways, spending all that time and money just to get the demo and the training, which is important, but if you work with somebody that doesn't kind of teach the follow-up, you're kind of losing out.
That's a great answer, Trish. And I'm going to back up just a little bit on there and just talk about coaching briefly. I'm going to go over to Rob for a second. Rob, how scary is it to jump into VO without basic coaching?
It's scary, very scary. I've heard of plenty of people who think they can like fake it till they make it, and a lot of people think when they first start out, it's like, oh, okay, you just stand in front of the microphone and you kind of ham it up a little bit, you give whatever they want, and that's it. And for some people, maybe they have some basic acting skills that they understand, certain things about the performance, and they may be successful. Like when they first start out, like some people may have gotten a gig with no experience at all. But then that gets them off and running. So now they're making money, but they have no idea how. They only made money on the one job, but they have no idea how to keep making money, And it can be a very dangerous, slippery slope. You need to have the training to begin with before you start marketing yourself and saying you know what you're doing and stuff like that. Because honestly, when it comes to like casting directors and creative directors and things like that, they can smell new blood a mile away,
Right.
And you think you can fake it till you make it, but you really can't. Like you think you're giving a good solid demo, and I can tell within 5 seconds, it's homemade. And that's me. I mean, that's not a casting director that's listening to demos all the time and scrutinizing for certain things. I mean, it's easy to tell that you don't have any skill, and you need to have skill. And the only way to get those skills is to have somebody show you what you can do and what you should do and what you need to be doing better. For you in particular, you need a coach for those reasons.
And that goes with good audio quality from your home setup too, which I'm going to go over to Jan. Jan, how scary is it to jump into VO without good audio quality from your home setup?
Oh my God, it's terrifying, Terry. I can't do it. I'm shivering in the fetal position just thinking about it. Oh my God. No, actually,
give him his statuette now, will you?
But I have to pay for it myself. Anyway, we've got to move on from that topic. But yeah, it's really It's part of the package. You know, you've got to be a good actor. You've got to know how to market yourself as a good actor. You've got to have all of your ducks in a row, and that really includes having pro quality sounding audio. It doesn't really matter how you get there. You could be in a blanket booth. You can be in a $50,000 studio. It doesn't matter as long as you get to the point where you're recording in a well-treated environment, meaning that you don't have a lot of echo or any echo really in your recordings.
But it's okay to have some echo in your podcast.
Oh yeah, well that just shows pro quality right there. Yeah,
as we seem to have a little bit here, but
yeah, but so anyway, so you've got to buy good equipment. It doesn't have to be thousands and thousands of dollars of worth, but you need to have good equipment in a very well treated environment and know how to use it.
Well, what do you say to people? And I'm not trying to be Mr. VO elitist here, but what?
Yes, you are.
You're right, I am. What do you say to people? They just bought a USB mic and they just make this proclamation on social media that they're now a professional voice actor.
I'll just shrug my shoulders and say, okay, good luck to you. But, because, they'll figure it out. A lot of people like to go their own way and they don't want to listen to, all these guys, they're just old school and, I'm going to do it my way. And I did that to myself to a certain extent. But the fact is that once you fall on your face about a half a dozen times, you realize that, yes, there are indeed certain ways of going about running your business, including all of the things that we've talked about already, including having really pro-sounding audio that you just have to have. It's part of the package in order to have a successful business in this field. So,
oh, Jan, you're just you're just a dinosaur.
I'm a dinosaur. I know. I'm melting into the tar pit as we speak.
I love that in some of these forums where you give them 34 years of experience and what worked for you, and then you're just a dinosaur.
Boomer.
Yeah.
Boomer.
Oh yeah, boomer.
I
love that one. That's just fantastic. So yeah, I mean these are all really good voiceover tips, and when sometimes people will say, well, of course you guys are going to say that. You're coaches. I mean, but we all actually do voiceovers full time and have done voiceovers full time for decades. So
That's scary. How long we've been doing this. Oh my God, I'm back in the fetal position.
Oh yeah, I should. I think I have a picture somewhere I'll send you guys of my gear when I first started doing this from home. Ooh, it was not good.
I don't think I have any pictures.
We only got good because we used to be bad. Like that's true with anything, right? Like my first website was disgusting. I thought I was going to be the voice for everything. I had like 12 demos on there, everything from in-store like announcements to stadium concession stands to movie trailers. I had a demo for everything voiceover could possibly do. Oh, and then I joined some Facebook groups and I saw I'm totally doing it wrong.
One of our competitors will say that you need a demo for all those categories.
Now, there are such things as niche demos, but don't try to be everything to everybody. It's not going to work. If you start out launching your business without any kind of focus on your strengths, then you're going to fail right out of the gate.
Yeah, I think to a certain degree we've all wanted to just be up for doing it all, until people start going, hey, thanks, but we wanted an authentic English accent, not your goofy California version. Okay, well, sorry.
Well, since we're talking about scariest stuff, the word scary Halloween, I've got a real quick scary voiceover session story. Now, this was just 2 seconds of heartbreaking. Thank God it was a mistake. So recently, a few months back, I booked a really big gig through my agency. So I show up to the gig. I'm the talent for this pretty big national gig. And another talent also showed up to the gig. Oh. And this is a one announcer type gig, one VO gig. And so he shows up thinking he booked the gig. But he was actually at the studio on the wrong date for a different project. Oh. So imagine my heart went right into my ass. because I'm like, wait a minute. So I didn't really get the gig. What is going on? So you got the gig? So my agent accidentally booked both of us. So, I mean, I'm like, oh my God, I'm out like some serious cash because he's probably the one that got the gig. But thankfully he oh my God, we laughed for like 3 days straight because he screwed up on the date and it was for a completely different project. Thank God.
Wow.
That was probably one of my scariest recent voiceover session stories. Any of you guys have a kind of a scary VO session story?
Yeah, I do. This is going back quite a few years, but I was booked for a gig in San Francisco when I was still living in California, and they wanted me in their studio to record in their, it was like a whisper room. It was like a little tiny 3x3 booth that had the microphone, and it had like a fan in there. I couldn't understand, why is there a fan in here? And all these kind of lights draping around, and I was in the booth for about half an hour. And it was hotter than hell in there. And I came out and I realized, the adrenaline was pumping and everything during the session, so I wasn't really paying attention. Then when I took off the headphones and started to step out, I realized that my t-shirt was drenched in sweat just from being in that little oven of a whisper room sweltering, and it's embarrassing and scary. And it was gross. It was totally gross, and but they were cool with it. They said, "Oh yeah, it happens all the time." I said,
"Oh, that's
how
great.
about doing something else? Why don't you get anyway?" So
how about a little ventilation, for God's sake?
Yeah, how about that?
Booths aren't really designed for any kind of ventilation.
No, they're really not. But I'm grateful you didn't end up in the ER or something.
God, me too.
Oh man, Trish, do you have a scary VO session story? You can just make one up.
No, I mean, I've been pretty lucky, but really early on, and hopefully this will be more kind of like an encouragement for some of our newbies, but that might be listening. But when I was really, really new, I got called, I got a new client. I had sent my demo out, and this guy said, yeah, come on out. I drove. It was probably about an hour from my house in New Jersey. And the money was pretty good, and it was like a corporate narration. And I had never done an in-studio, other than being in a radio studio and being behind the mic for like my DJ kind of stuff. I had never been behind a mic and being directed and just had a script in front of me. So that was like basically my very first VO session, like proper. I was terrified. And so, and I didn't know that I was going to be. I was fine driving to the studio, and then because I was so new, I just wasn't that good. So the guy that hired me, I mean, I definitely wasn't, I had the demo, and the demo was good, but like, because I was so nervous, it just really affected my performance. And I just, the guy was like clearly not happy with the performance that I was given. He wasn't a jerk, but I mean, he really could have been, but like, he was basically like, at one point, he was just kind of like placating me. So it would just be like, okay, this is done. I have a feeling I probably got like replaced. But I don't know because I never talked to them again. But the moral to the story is that I got back up and I did it again. And you know what? It was better the next time. You just, unfortunately, you have to go through that growing pain. You just got to feel the pain the first time to just get it over with. And if you never work with the client again, there's 100 million more out there.
Well, and not every gig, no matter how much experience you have, you're going to have that dud of a gig. You're just going to, even like, it could happen tomorrow. We're all just going to go into the booth, and we're just not going to, we just don't have it that day. It's kind of like a major league pitcher who had like 20 wins during the regular season, and then he just gets crushed in the first inning of like a post-season game. It's just that one game, just, sometimes you just don't have it. And everybody's going to go through that experience for sure.
Or sometimes you're just not on the same wavelength as your client or your director who you're not communicating well, You never know what's going to throw a wrench into the works.
Well, bad direction.
I was making so many mistakes.
Bad direction can give you a bad day.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're not like, well, wait a minute, you got to give me a little bit more than just saying, hey, just don't sound like a disc jockey. I'm sorry, I
got
need a little
sound
bit more than
rounder
that.
once. I think I've told you this before, but the weirdest direction that I've ever gotten was when a guy asked me to sound rounder.
Oh, yeah.
I looked at him as the professional that I was. I looked at him through the glass and I went, okay. And I read it just the way I wanted to, and he was like, that was perfect.
Oh my God! Well, that just gave us a new category: scariest direction.
Yeah, really.
It's just sometimes it's just a head scratcher. Some of the direction you get on stuff. Garnett, do you have any kind of weird VO session story or any kind of scary?
Yeah, scary. Similar to Trish's, it was. I'd done most of my sessions when I first got with my first agent. Most of my sessions had just been like me and a booth director and an engineer, so it was just very very small crowd. And I got an audition for Jolly Ranchers Candy, and I go to the studio, and I'd been to the studio before, but again, it was usually just me and an engineer and a director, and that was it. And when I went into the booth, I saw on the other side of the glass like 15 people. And I'm like, what the hell?
Oh my God.
Like, why do we have, this many people here? And it turned out it was regional marketing director, 3 copywriters, booth director, assistant booth director, engineer, agency people, like all the middlemen between the client and the advertising agency, and then the studio that they booked where I was working. So it was just like this whole bunch of people. And it was one of those things where they'd ask me to read, and I'd do a couple of takes, and then they'd go, hold on, and then they're all talking to each other, and you're just watching them through the glass, and you don't know if they liked what you just did.
Oh my God!
And they're too many cooks kind of thing, and I'm scared and intimidated that I have to please this many people. Normally, you just have to worry about pleasing the director because it's his final say, but here you've got all these people throwing their 2 cents in, and I'm waiting for 5 minutes while they go around the room, and then they come back and go, yeah, that was good, but...
Man.
It's ridiculous. How many parodies have we seen of this exact situation? It's just, it's ridiculous.
Here's the most amazing part. My entire script consisted of 4 words.
Oh my God.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah, I had a
5
feeling.
words. Jolly Rancher, get mouth happy.
Oh my God, Terry, didn't you? I remember you had this story about 3 hours with one tagline for a law firm years ago.
Mine was very similar. It was a tag. Schwabel, Getz, and Sieben. That was it. It was Schwabel, Getz, and Sieben, Minnesota's attorney powerhouse. I was the tag at the end, and every lawyer from the law firm showed up to direct.
Oh,
It wasn't even anybody. I don't even recall anybody from the ad agency in the creative department that showed up to direct. It was the lawyers themselves, and very similar, Garnett. And I don't care if you're new or you've got 10 years of experience, that can be pretty intimidating.
Yep, it
Oh,
very
yeah.
much can be.
No doubt.
I
I
had
don't
the
even
similar
know how many
thing
takes
for.
I did, but they kept me in there for an hour before they released me. Just
Yeah.
to say those 5 words over and over and over again until they felt they had enough. And when I heard the final result, when I saw the final result, because it was like a little TV commercial, I was like, I thought they all sounded good. Like, I don't know what made that one the money one as far as they were concerned, but the process.
I think everybody was trying to justify their jobs.
Yeah.
It's now I just go in like William Shatner and I just laugh when they say they need another take. All
It's
right.
a middle management.
I love that
They'll
one.
take. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but most of the time when I get directed from the actual end client, it's usually because it's like the middle management. Like the CEO doesn't show up. It's the people in middle management that get a chance to tell somebody else what to do for a change. So they're so used to, I think, getting told what to do that it's like, ooh, I'm going to direct the voiceover talent. And I'm going to say this, and I don't know. Some women may agree with me, but I feel like when I get directed by women, they give me a harder time than men do. I don't know if it's like the whole kind of like competition thing that women have with each other, but like we yes. And so exactly, we kind of, when we get a chance to tell another woman what to do, we kind of take advantage of it. And I've always kind of, and I've had some really easy sessions with women directors, but in general, kind of, just a brash generalization, I would say that it's easier for me to perform with male directors, just because they're easier to please for whatever reason. Yeah.
But do you ever get the creeps who just try to mansplain?
Not too often. No. I'm not very sensitive to that because I don't really look for it. I'm not one to
that's interesting though. That's a really interesting take for sure. I mean, I'm always going to opt for getting a little direction on the phone, having a little consultation with the client, and then they just kind of release me to go record on my own. That's always going to be my favorite way to do it, and it's important to do it. Yeah, it's directed sessions are obviously very important, and it's nice to know that they're happy at the end of the hour. But I feel so much.
It can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, oh yeah, but I feel so much more relaxed if I'm just doing it on my own, even after all these years.
I will say that doing a directed session does tend to avoid having to do retakes later. And doing a pickup later on down the road. I mean, I've done some sessions that were doozies where it was like 2 hours, and I had to take I asked him at one point if I could take a 5-minute break, and literally just jumped in the shower because I was so sweaty and it was so exhausting. And a booth is going to heat up pretty quickly, and it was like it was a nightmare to get through that. Sometimes it's nice to not have to have the pickups and do all the retakes later on down the road. It's nice to be able to get it all done in one shot.
Yeah.
Agreed.
By the way, when you guys get a second, Malena's demo in Voiceover Camp.
Oh, yeah.
Congrats to Garnet for stepping in after the first studio that we worked with sent us files with some type of an electrical hum in the files.
No.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it was a complete redo, and I'm sure she won't mind me telling the story because, Garnet, you're a part of this because you stepped into direct just recently. And those first files were so bad, and I'm not going to throw the studio under the bus, but this came from a professional off-site studio, these awful files. So we had to find another one and record and do it all over again, and she just absolutely nailed it.
Oh, she crushed it. She was so
That's
good.
cool.
Yeah.
She's really good.
Awesome. Check that out in VoiceOver Camp. And for those of you who are listening to VoiceOver Sermons, by the way, you can subscribe to VoiceOver Sermons on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And you can take a shortcut and go to voiceoversermons.com to hit the Spreaker feed. And we have a group, a VoiceOver group on Facebook called VoiceOver Camp. Generally for newer talents, but all of us are in there, and we're always happy to help out when somebody has a question VO related. And you can find us, VoiceOver Camp. Just put it in the search box on Facebook and find us. And if you are interested in coaching with us, you can go to our coaching website at voiceovertraining.info. That's voiceovertraining.info. So I want to wrap up this episode because we're going on about 40 minutes here. I'm going to just go around to each of you and just tell me what your favorite scary movie is. Rob Marley, go.
Gotta be Jaws. That's a classic.
Well, that assured Steven Spielberg, a healthy career for the rest of his life, that one movie. Have you ever seen, if you've never seen it, by the way, check out the Spielberg 2-hour documentary on HBO. I think you can catch it on HBO Max. And the horror stories of making the movie Jaws, I think, was scarier than the movie itself.
It's a miracle that movie got finished, But yeah, it's just an amazing piece of cinematic,
Oh my God! Hearing him talk about they were stuck on the ocean, and he was like, "I didn't know anything about currents back then."
Oh, geez.
I didn't know that when it was cloudy out, it changed the color of the water. I mean, seriously, if you're a filmmaker, what a learning experience. But that's a great documentary and a great choice. What about you, Jan Anderson?
Oh, let's see. I'm going to have to go with the original Night of the Living Dead, 1968, George Romero. I mean,
Yes.
talk about an enduring genre, zombies, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. I watch it every year right around this time of year. Every year around this time of year. How many times can I put year into this sentence? That's scary enough right there.
No, that's
But so that's mine. That's my one of my favorite classics.
that is a great choice. You know, I have to go with The Shining because I get such joy out of watching Jack Nicholson frame by frame descend into mental madness.
Chewing
You
up
know,
scenery.
every second he just gets a little bit worse.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And are you guys like that when your spouse comes in while you're recording?
I
Wendy?
don't have one, so.
Darling.
Now, Tracy, when you hear me recording or whatever the frick I'm doing in here,
Love of my life.
oh God, one of the best for sure. Trish, how about you?
So I have a hard time with favorites, but I'm first of all a big Hitchcock fan, but
Yes.
I'm also a big vampire fan. So probably if I really had to pick one, Salem's Lot.
Oh
yeah. Love
that is a good
Scared
one.
the blank out of me, and
Yeah.
still continues to whenever I get a chance to see it. One of the definitely the darkest, other than one of the original Nosferatu from like the 40s, which are amazing. 'Cause even if they're even the dubbed or the subtitled versions, but oh man, yeah, Salem's Lot just threw me for a loop when I was a
That is
kid.
creepy. I'll get to Garnett in a second, but I'm going to give you my worst horror film I think of all time is The Fog.
Oh, I never saw that, but
I-
I remember seeing it in the video store.
I
Was
was
that
so
a John Carpenter movie?
Yeah, it was an
Yeah.
early John Carpenter movie. I saw it at a drive-in, and it was just, oh man, it was just so bad. I mean, he did The Thing later on, which I thought was brilliant.
But Adrienne Barbeau was in The Fog. How bad could it have been with Adrienne Barbeau?
Oh my God! Just like the, it was one of those things where you wanted to be scared, but you ended up just laughing throughout the whole film because it was just so god awful. Mr.
That was
Williams.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Oh God, I love the first Nightmare on Elm Street. But Mr. Williams, how about yourself?
Showgirls.
Yes. I will agree with that.
And like you said, it's so bad, it's good. No, actually, I have fond memories of being scared out of my mind by watching, with my mom, no less. I remember I think she rented it. My dad wasn't home, so we were doubly scared because we were in the house by ourselves and it was scarier than we thought it was going to be. Prom Night. The original Prom Night.
Oh yes.
I never saw that.
Was Jamie Lee Curtis in that one as well?
Oh, yeah. She was a scream queen when she was a teenager.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the original Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis scared me quite a lot when I was a kid. So, I still watch it every once in a while, but my wife won't go near it because it scared her as well. We had that in common, that it was one of those ones. There's like a trio of movies that she will not touch because they scared her so bad when she was a kid she won't even revisit them. And
Wow.
that was one of them. The other, of course, was the classics Halloween and Friday
Exorcist.
the 13th.
Yeah.
I was just about
gonna
to
say
mention The
nobody was.
Exorcist.
Your mother is in here with us, Karis.
I saw that once and never saw it again in my 20s, and that was it.
I can't do it.
That's all I can handle.
I can't. I saw the unedited version, and I can't go back. It's just it's so you can actually smell the film burning as you're watching it. But hey, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you guys for contributing to the Halloween edition of Voiceover Sermons. I really appreciate it. This was fun, guys. Happy Halloween.
This
Happy
was so
Halloween to
fun. Yeah, happy Halloween.
All right. Take care, everybody. On behalf of Rob Marley, Jan Anderson, Trish Bassani, Garnet Williams, my name's Terry Daniel, and you have been a witness to another edition of Voiceover Sermons. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.